When the storm rises, the sea does not apologize for its waves. When the lion walks, it does not explain its roar. When the mountain stands, it does not chase the wind. It simply is. You too are meant to live this way. There comes a moment in every life when chasing, begging, explaining, and angering must end, not because you have given up, but because you have woken up. The world teaches you to react, to prove yourself, to explain your worth, to chase validation. But true power, true mastery, is silent. Approval, it is carved into your very being by life itself. Do not lower your head to be accepted. Rise, and those meant to walk beside you will meet your eyes. Never explain, because those who misunderstand you have already chosen not to listen. Silence will reveal more than 1,000 words ever could. When you stop explaining yourself, you shift from trying to convince to simply being, and that is where respect is born. Never be angry, because anger is the weapon of the weak, disguised as strength. The true warrior does not waste his fire on noise. He channels it inward, for discipline, for creation, for purpose. You are not here to fight the world. You are here to master yourself. Climax. The power of silence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is the loudest declaration of inner power. In silence you observe. In silence you heal. In silence you become untouchable. When you no longer chase, the right things begin to seek you. When you no longer beg, abundance finds its way to you. When you no longer explain, your actions speak for you. When you no longer get angry, peace becomes your armor. And when your silence speaks, the world listens. Or superpower, you no longer need to shout to be heard. You no longer need to fight to be seen. You no longer need to prove to be powerful. Be still, be grounded, be unshakable, and let your silence make the noise. Never chase, because what belongs to you will recognize your energy and come closer on its own. The act of chasing is born from a place of fear, the fear of losing, the fear of missing out, the fear of not being enough. When you chase, you tell yourself that something outside of you has more value than what already exists within you. You begin to believe that happiness, love, peace, or success lives somewhere else, in someone else, in another place, in another time. But this is an illusion, that keeps you running endlessly, like a traveler seeking water in a desert that only mirrors the sky. The more you chase, the further the thing moves away. This is not punishment, it is balance. The universe does not respond to desperation, it responds to alignment. When you move with calm purpose instead of panic, when you walk with direction instead of running without awareness, what is meant for you feels your energy and naturally gravitates toward you. Chasing scatters your energy outward, but alignment gathers it inward. When your energy is centered, it becomes magnetic. You no longer have to pursue, you attract. Chasing comes from attachment, an attachment to results, to validation, to control. You think, if I just try harder, if I just prove myself more, if I just reach out again, maybe it will come to me. But life is not built on force. The moment you force, you create resistance. The more you grip, the faster things slip away. Just as water cannot be held tightly in the fist, peace and success cannot be trapped by control. They flow naturally to the open hand, not the clenched one. To stop chasing does not mean to stop striving or to stop caring. It means to move from a place of knowing, not needing. When you know who you are, when you understand your purpose, your movements become deliberate and powerful. You still take action, but your actions come from calm conviction, not anxious pursuit. You no longer move because you are afraid of losing something. You move because you are creating from strength. The one who chases always lives in the future, chasing moments that have not yet come, outcomes that have not yet formed. The one who is aligned lives in the present, shaping the future through the power of now. When you chase, you are always one step behind life. When you stand still and centered, life comes to meet you. This is not laziness, this is mastery. Stillness does not mean inaction, it means awareness before action, calm before movement, wisdom before words. Look at nature. The flower does not chase the bee, yet the bee finds its way. The sun does not run after the dawn, yet day arrives unfailingly. When you learn to hold your ground, your presence itself becomes a force of attraction. The right opportunities, people and moments recognize that energy and are drawn to it without effort. Never beg, because the moment you beg, you forget your value. Begging does not always come in the form of words. Sometimes it hides in subtle actions, the constant need to be seen, the endless attempts to prove, the quiet surrender of your dignity in the hope that someone else will give you what you already possess within. Begging begins where self-trust ends. It is born when you start believing that your worth depends on the acceptance or generosity of others. But the truth is simple and unshakable. What is meant for you will never require you to lower your head to receive it. When you beg, you hand over your power. You give others the permission to define your importance. You place your heart in their hands, hoping they will treat it kindly. Yet those who do not see your value will never honor it, no matter how much you plead. The more you try to convince someone to appreciate your presence, the more they take your presence for granted. Respect cannot be requested, it must be inspired. You cannot make someone value you by kneeling before them. The moment you do, you confirm their illusion that they are above you. Life tests your faith in yourself by placing you in situations where begging seems like the easiest path. When the door closes, you may feel tempted to knock again and again, to ask, to plead, to prove, but every closed door is a message, not a punishment. It tells you not here, not now, not like this. Begging in such moments only delays your growth, keeps you tied to something that is no longer meant for you. The strength you seek does not come from being accepted, it's dumbays from walking away with your head held high, even when your heart is heavy. To live without begging is to trust in your own abundance. It is to understand that you are not in competition with anyone. The universe does not run out of opportunities, love, or blessings. The scarcity you feel is an illusion created by fear. When you beg, you affirm that illusion. When you trust, you break it. You begin to see that everything that leaves your life is making space for something greater. You begin to see, to realize that your worth was never reduced because someone failed to recognize it. Begging makes the soul small. It teaches you to shrink your voice, to dim your light, to compromise your truth for acceptance. But true dignity is silent strength. It is the power to say, I will not ask for what I deserve, I will create it. It is the calm refusal to chase after things that do not honor your spirit. When you stop begging, you send a message to life itself that you remember who you are. You reclaim your self-respect, your boundaries, your voice. You walk as someone who knows that the things meant for you will never require you to lose yourself to have them. Never explain, because those who misunderstand you have already chosen not to listen. Explanation is often disguised as a need for peace, but deep within it hides the fear of being unseen. When you constantly explain yourself, you seek to control how others perceive you. You try to shape their thoughts, to protect your image, to defend your choices, but every time you do this, you hand your inner calm to someone else's opinion. The need to explain is the subtle confession that you need approval to feel at ease with your truth. There will always be people who twist your words, misread your intentions, or doubt your heart. You cannot chase every rumor, correct every assumption, or justify every action. The more you try to explain, the deeper you sink into the quicksand of misunderstanding. True clarity is not achieved
through silence.
In silence, the truth remains untouched, unpolluted, unshaken by the noise of opinions. When you stop explaining, you learn the rare art of letting people think what they want while you continue walking your path. The urge to explain comes from insecurity, the subtle fear that maybe you were wrong, that maybe their judgment has weight, that maybe you owe them an answer. But your life is not a courtroom and you are not on trial. Every decision you have made was based on the awareness you had at that moment. Growth means moving forward, not defending the past. When you spend energy explaining yourself, you stop living in the present and start living in the echoes of doubt. There is great strength in letting silence respond where words once rushed. The one who can remain silent under misunderstanding has mastered emotional discipline. It takes more power to stay still than to speak. Silence does not mean surrender, it means self-command. You no longer give away our energy trying to be understood by those who are not ready to understand. Instead, you let time reveal what words cannot. Time has a way of unveiling truth without the need for defense. The universe does not rush to justify itself. The sun rises, the rain falls, the seasons shift, and everything is proven through consistency, not explanation. When you stop explaining, your energy becomes pure. You speak only when it is necessary, not when it is demanded. Your words regain weight because pure. You speak only when it is necessary, not when it is demanded. Your words regain weight because pure. You speak only when it is necessary, not when it is demanded. They are no longer thrown out of fear. You move from reaction to intention. People begin to sense your calm, your quiet assurance. Some may still misunderstand you, but their opinions lose their power. You start to realize that explanation is often a battle against shadows, projections that were never yours to fight. The mind seeks closure through explanation, but the soul finds peace through acceptance. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, your path, or your vision. The right ones will see it through your actions. The wrong ones will never see it, no matter how long you speak. The energy you once used to explain is better spent in building, creating, and evolving. Your silence becomes your statement. Your calm becomes your proof. Your presence itself becomes the answer that words could never deliver. Never be angry, because anger is the weapon of the weak, disguised as strength. It erupts quickly, burns intensely, and leaves ashes where peace once lived. Anger feels powerful in the moment. It gives the illusion of control, of dominance, of being heard. But in truth, anger controls you more than you control it. It clouds your vision, poisons your words, and binds your spirit to the very thing that disturbed it. Every time you react in anger, you hand over your peace to something outside of you. You let the actions of others dictate your state of mind, and that is the greatest form of slavery. The world will always test your patience. People will misunderstand you, disappoint you, provoke you, and try to pull you into the chaos that lives within them. If you answer with anger, you descend to their level. You allow them to lead you into emotional battlefields that serve no purpose. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to fight noise with noise, you protect your energy. You become like still water, reflecting everything yet disturbed by nothing. The calm person sees clearly, the angry person sees through smoke, and decisions made through smoke always lead to regret. Anger is often not about the moment in front of you. It is the accumulation of many unhealed moments buried within. The person who shouts at a stranger is rarely angry at the stranger. They are angry at the thousand small injustices they never faced, the silent hurts they never released, the disappointments they never made peace with. To master anger is not to suppress it, but to understand its roots. Ask yourself not why am I angry now, but what is this moment trying to show me about myself? In that awareness, the fire loses its fuel. When you stop being angry, you do not become passive, you become powerful. You learn to respond instead of react. You learn to stand firm without shouting, to correct without hurting, to protect your boundaries without burning bridges. The strongest voice in any room is often the one that doesn't raise its tone. Real power is calm because it does not depend on emotion. It comes from clarity. To never be angry does not mean you ignore injustice or accept disrespect. It means you address it from a place of wisdom rather than rage. Anger seeks to destroy, but understanding seeks to transform. When you act with understanding, you take control of the situation instead of letting the situation control you. You become a force of harmony in a world that thrives on reaction. The person who can remain centered while others lose their balance is the one who truly holds authority over themselves. The moment you truly holds authority over themselves, the moment you truly holds authority over themselves, the moment you can look at conflict and still breathe slowly, still think clearly, still move deliberately, you have transcended anger. You have turned what once consumed you into fuel for awareness, discipline, and quiet power. Never fear, because fear is the shadow that robs you of your own light. It disguises itself as caution, prudence, or respect for limits. But at its core, fear is a silent thief of potential. Every time you hesitate, every time you shrink from a challenge, every time you allow fear to dictate your choices, you give away a part of yourself. Fear thrives in the mind of those who chase certainty, who seek approval, who cling to what is comfortable. But growth, power, and transformation never dwell in comfort. They dwell in the unknown, in the space beyond hesitation, in the place where fear has been acknowledged and then left behind. To never fear does not mean to act recklessly. It means to confront uncertainty with awareness. The world will always present situations that feel overwhelming, opportunities that seem too large, decisions that feel too risky, or challenges that appear impossible. Fear whispers that you are not ready, that you might fail, that the consequences are too great. It is a persistent voice designed to keep you small, to maintain the illusion of safety at the cost of your evolution. But every step taken despite fear, every action embraced in its presence, is a declaration that your power is greater than your doubts. The most courageous individuals are not those who feel no fear, but those who feel it fully and still move forward. Fear often masquerades as self-protection, convincing you to wait, to postpone, to defer your life until conditions feel right. Yet the truth is that conditions are rarely perfect, and waiting for perfection is an endless trap. Life rewards action, not hesitation. The more you surrender to fear, the more it grows, shaping your identity into one defined by limitation rather than potential. The mind becomes a cage, filled with what-ifs, doubts, and imagined failures. To break free, you must recognize that fear is an illusion, a story created by the mind to prevent change. Courage is the act of telling that story. I acknowledge you, but I will not let you lead me. When you abandon fear, you unlock your true potential. You see opportunity where others see risk, growth where others see danger, and freedom where others see constraint. You begin to trust your instincts, your skills, and your resilience. You stop waiting for external validation or approval and start relying on your inner compass. Fear loses its grip when you realize that you have survived every challenge so far, that your strength is inherent, and that your capacity to endure and adapt is far greater than any imagined threat. Fear also steals clarity. Decisions made from fear are reactive, defensive, and short-sighted. Decisions made from courage are deliberate, grounded, and aligned with your higher purpose. By choosing courage, you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your vision. You move through life with presence, not anxiety. You become someone who does not flee from challenges but meets them as a force of nature, meets the storm with awareness, precision, and calm strength. True mastery is when fear exists as a background noise rather than a dictator of action. It is when hesitation no longer defines your boundaries, when doubt does not paralyze your progress, and when the uncertainty of life becomes a canvas for your creativity and resilience. Those who live in fear wait for life to happen. Those who rise above it create their life intentionally. Never doubt, because doubt is the invisible anchor that keeps your potential submerged beneath uncertainty. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as caution, self-reflection, or humility. Yet its effect is corrosive. Every time you question your worth, your decisions, or your ability to succeed, you weaken the foundation of your own power. Doubt thrives on comparison, on overthinking, and on listening too intently to voices that are not aligned with your truth. It feeds on hesitation and grows stronger every time you allow someone else's opinion to weigh heavier than your own conviction. But trust in yourself is the bridge to freedom. It is the force that propels dreams into reality, that turns intention into action, and that allows the soul to rise above external judgment and internal uncertainty. To never doubt does not mean blind confidence, nor does it mean ignoring reality. It means cultivating discernment while simultaneously trusting the guidance of your inner compass. Life is filled with choices that seem ambiguous, paths that are unclear, and outcomes that cannot be predicted. In these moments, doubt whispers that you are not prepared, that you might fail, or that you are not worthy of success. Yet doubt is merely the mind's way of clinging to comfort and resisting growth. The person who trusts their inner compass understands that certainty comes not from external validation but from alignment with their own values, instincts, and experience. Doubt is often born from fear, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of rejection. It convinces you to pause, to wait, to second guess, and in doing so, it erodes momentum. Every great achievement in history was preceded by a choice to act despite uncertainty. To act despite doubt is to acknowledge that perfection is an illusion, that mistakes are teachers, and that hesitation is the enemy of progress. Doubt fades when you shift your focus from "will I succeed" to "am I acting in accordance with what I know to be true?" This subtle but powerful shift transforms uncertainty into clarity and inaction into decisive movement. Trusting yourself requires deep listening. It requires observing your thoughts without judgment, feeling your intuition without suppression, and acknowledging your past successes as evidence of your capability. Each choice you make with integrity, each decision rooted in clarity rather than fear, strengthens your trust in yourself. Doubt diminishes because it cannot compete with a mind and heart that are aligned. The opinions of others become mere echoes that do not sway your direction. Never doubting also means embracing responsibility for your life. It is the recognition that you are the author of your story, and that waiting for someone else to validate or approve your choices is surrendering your agency. The doubting mind seeks permission. The trusting mind moves forward, learns, adjusts, and thrives. Doubt is the weight that slows momentum. Trust is the current that carries you forward. Each time you act decisively despite uncertainty, you build a reservoir of confidence and inner power that cannot be shaken by circumstance or criticism. Trusting yourself transforms hesitation into clarity, fear into action, and potential into achievement. It allows you to navigate life with focus, resilience, and calm determination. In the absence of doubt, your energy is no longer scattered, your mind no longer vacillates, and your presence becomes magnetic. Those who trust themselves move through life with intention, not hesitation, and their inner compass guides them through every storm with unwavering certainty.